knob, and we have it turn it all the way till it goes flat. That means it's off. Turn it to the left, and you can lock this knob so that it can't be turned. That's the storage position in the down, with this all the way to the left, all the way off, minus, and it locked. That's the way nothing's going to happen. When you need to use the machine, unlock this so this turns, and now you'll start getting tension onto the spring. And when you get, okay, so in the scrummage position, we're going to turn this up to about 600 when it's fully loaded, and takes about a minute, but it'll actually lift the 2 ton off the ground and transfers all the weight onto the tracks. And as you can see, it's equalized and it stopped applying air. That means that it is balanced for the weight of the machine. So we start at 600 on this machine. Now, just as an indicator, back up a bit. With this set at approximately 600 kilos, if I put my weight onto the machine, it'll actually start increasing the pressure in the system. Now it's up to 650 on this gauge. That's the added pressure from my weight. When I release, you can see the gauge drops and it equalizes without my weight. If I add I can reset this peak needle here to record what my actual me adding my own weight makes a difference. So I'm 100 kilos, it's pushing about 100 kilos more to lift me. When I release, you can see it equalizes, bleeds off, and it's recorded with this peak needle, the extra. The machine, with it at, once it's raised itself up, what they push over and above the 600 will be recorded on this gauge. If you turn this up too much, it won't do anything immediately, but as soon as they contact it, it will push back quickly. So I'll just try and show that. So I'm going to turn this right up. So it's equalizing very quickly there. You want to make this achievable by turning it back just so that they can hold it. The machine will only push back to the top position. When they contact the machine, it compresses, and then they have the isometric or the overload training pushing back. You want to create a wheel, you can take the strap out of this clasp here. It's a leash, and as they're pulling, you can help steer by pulling on this to create a loose or a tight head wheel. The caster will follow whichever way the machine wants to go. When putting this away, don't leave it in front, because obviously the tires will run over it. So tuck it away inside here, out of the way of the tires, and it's there for when you need it. Quick pin. Pull up a bit, and you can change up and down. Desired height. Hold it up and put the quick pin back in. That can be adjusted 8 inches. Okay. The pads are marked 1 to 4 with a corresponding number underneath the jaw. Okay, this is the tight head pad. It has a handle on the outside, so it's number 4. It'll match up, but obviously the outside one goes on. This handle goes on the outside. There's 3 handles for 3 different grips: close, behind, over the shoulder, and a long grip. This is the retaining pin. It has a slip joint to keep it attached to the pad. When you you insert the pad into the jaw, and there's 2 pins come around the back, and you insert between the 2 guide pins at the back, coming to the front. Okay, there's multiple holes for depth for adjusting a taper. Push down the pads. Over there. Okay. Okay. Pad adjustment can be made vertical, in or out, and left and right for what you require. Some concern should be made, depending on the size of the trainers, that you don't go too close for contact with the skin. 2 holes showing on this side is usually good. Insert your pad. There are 2 holes on this side. Hold the strap so it stays loose. Tighten the pad. Okay, before you cinch it down, set your width. For bigger teams, have it wider. And then torque this tight. Little movement is good, it will adjust. And that's your pads. Filling the water bladder is done through this hose bit. This is a standard North American hose bit. There's a tap that turns on and off, obviously, to the bladder. If you open it up with water in it, it'll drain. And you turn this to 90 to make sure that it shuts off. To fill it, you put a hose onto here, you open this up, it will fill. Depending on water pressure, 10 to 15 minutes. You keep filling it until you have an overflow coming out of this brass pipe. As soon as water starts to drip out of this pipe, it means the bladder is full. Compressor drain is right here. At the end of each session, that drain should be open for just a blast to make sure the water is out of the system, and also turn it on, drain the air until the compressor starts. This compressor will run for approximately 1 to 2 hours to fill up the tanks on board. Storing the machine. We've just finished using it, and the compressor is now running because we've bled the water out of it at the end of the session. It'll run for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm going to put it now back down into the tracks so that we don't compress or put a footprint into this artificial surface. At the end of the session, we are going to turn this all the way to the left until it turns freely, and lock this off to prevent anybody from turning it. We're going to put the security cover on now. Push that down a little bit so it's not sticking right up, and we're good to store it. The compressor running is normal, and we're going to put the security cover on, making sure that the windows are going to allow it to continue charging.